Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. Today, I really want to dive into figuring out the who and finding your who. But before I do that, today I had a meeting with Mana Ecom, and the whole purpose of the meeting was really to identify the who that we want to target, the dream client that we're really trying to go after. Because what I found while working on the video sales script is that we really don't know exactly who we want to target. And that was the issue that I was running into because the entire video sales script that I wrote up was targeted towards one type of person. But the issue is that the person I was trying to target was not the right person that we had in mind as the owners did or as the salespeople did. So today we really were trying to narrow down on exactly who we want to focus in on. And that was super valuable, really figuring out who we want to target, because after we figure out the who that we want to go for, it makes it so much easier to write the sales script and create the funnel and create the marketing messages that we want to hook people to come into Mana Ecom and work with us. So having that meeting was a huge success and really clarified on how to create the marketing materials that we're going to start working on after this. And right now, I'm going to meet with D on Monday to just discuss the video sales script. And over the weekend, I'll just write that up using Russell Brunson's perfect webinar framework. And speaking of his framework, I also hopped on a sales pitch meeting. It was a digital marketer pitching his marketing agency to assisted living facilities. And it seemed that he was okay with what he was offering. Well, actually, let me backtrack because I don't think he knows, I don't think he's ever read Russell Brunson or Dan Kennedy. And to be honest, if you haven't read those guys, in my opinion, you don't know anything about marketing, or at least you don't know the core concepts that are super important to be successful. Because I have read them, and even with studying all of their content or books or courses, I still have so much I need to learn about marketing. I thought I knew a lot, I really do not. But the first issue that he had in his presentation was that it was very one-sided. He had no audience interaction, he wasn't asking any questions, he wasn't getting any feedback. It was just him blurbing out a whole bunch of techno babble, which is the second issue. He was talking about a lot about website optimization and generating traffic, doing ads, PPC, all of these things that people would not understand. The people who are attending the webinar, who were watching, they did not understand what this man was talking about. And that was another issue that I noticed. But the big one was that he was really focusing in on the tactics of marketing. And what do I mean by that? The tactics are the nitty-gritty of marketing. It's the immediate step-by-step process of putting together the website, of writing up the blog, of posting the Google ad or Facebook ad. It's the super specific details. But the strategy of marketing that I think he didn't really hit on at all was that you need to identify the who that you want to go for. Because there have been so many instances of people I'm talking to, and I asked them, who's your dream market? Who's your dream audience? Who's your dream customer? And they said, everyone. Well, everyone who wants a bed, or everyone who needs a new driveway, or anyone who needs more money. That's great in theory, but in practice, that's not going to happen. You cannot serve every single person in the world, every 8 billion single one of us. You cannot do that. So it's super important to really narrow down on who exactly you want to go for. And I've noticed that when I ask people this, they get super confused and they really don't know where to start, how to narrow it down. So here's a couple questions that might help when trying to narrow down your who, and exactly who you're trying to target, who you want to go for. The first one is think of who you've already served in the past. There's this thing called Pareto's principle where 20% of your work generates 80% of the profit. And applying this to what I'm talking about, 20% of the customers that you already worked for and already had generated 80% of your revenue. So identify those 20% of people who really contributed to your profit, really contributed to the revenue, and then reverse engineer what they had. Were they married? What gender were they? How old were they? What were their big wants? What were their big worries? And really trying to get to a full picture of who you want to serve. Some other questions that I thought were super helpful. I found this when I was working through Steve Larson's course, and it's what should they desperately want already? When you're trying to go for someone, they shouldn't just kind of want this thing, and this shouldn't be something that they could do or couldn't do. They should desperately want the service or product that you're providing. So what is that thing that they desperately want? For example, if I'm selling mattresses, they don't desperately want a mattress. What they desperately want want is a comfortable bed to sleep on so their back doesn't hurt at night. That's what they desperately want. Another super helpful question is, what should they already know? This is super key when we're creating our marketing materials because we should use language that they should already know. And it also helps to filter out the customers that we don't want, because if they don't know this thing, then they'd be super confused and they would go away. So this works in two favors for us, because we can attract people that we do want, and we can scare away people that we don't want. Another question is, what have they already bought? What are the things that they've already tried, that they've already put their money into, and haven't seen the results yet, or haven't seen as great of a result that you can deliver? For example, with Mana Ecom, we're providing another source of investment, another investment vehicle for them to put their money in to get a return on their investment. So they've already bought stock markets and shares and IRAs and all the other investment things, Airbnbs and stuff. They've already bought all of that stuff. And my job in the video sales script is to show that e-commerce is the next investment vehicle, is the new investment vehicle for them to put their money in that will generate the revenue and pay off bills, pay off mortgages, and give them more time and freedom. And the final question I want to talk about is, what are they starting to resent? And this could be both outwardly and secretly. What are they starting to hate? For Mana Ecom, the customer is starting to resent the time that they're losing with their job. Just little by little, they're starting to resent their job. Not so much that they'll quit, but just enough to where it gets a bit overwhelming, or it gets to be a little too much of your time. That's what they're starting to resent. And they're starting to resent the fact that they can't spend more time with their families, doing things they love, with people they love. Those are the things that I'm thinking of as I'm trying to put together the copy, or put together the website, or the funnel, or all of the things that go into generating leads and converting leads. Because with marketing, and I'm super not inexperienced, but I'm super new to this, because I've really only been in the space for, let's say, a couple months. But from what I've learned is that marketing really has one major goal, and that's lead generating leads, and then sales will do the converting on those leads. And that's why it's super important from my perspective is to have a background in both marketing and sales. And I'm building up my marketing background by learning all of this and applying everything that I'm learning. But later down the road, I'm definitely going to have to pick up my sales background, because once I can master sales and put that into my marketing, it's just going to explode my potential and all the work that I'm doing. But yeah, that's something that I really just want to talk about and share, is identifying your who. If I ask you who your dream customer is and your answer is everyone, then that's an issue. So I highly recommend putting in some thought into this and really narrowing down on who you want to serve and the dream person you have in mind that you will go after. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Talk to you.